Good morning. We are going to be talking about fiscal policy today. A couple things I wanted to do first is wish Hiram and Pat a belated happy birthday. I hope you guys had a great time over the weekend and that you got to get outside and enjoy some of the sunshine that we had this weekend. Okay, next up you need to update your binder check sheet if you have not already. Make sure that you put in the fiscal policy notes, today's date, and number 7. Remember, at any point in time during this video, you can pause and rewind. All right, so let's talk about fiscal policy. And anytime that we're talking about fiscal, okay, we're talking about government taxes, which are their revenue, that's their income, and the way that they spend money. All right, so fiscal is government taxes and spending. But fiscal policy measures how the government uses taxes and spending, how their use of taxes and spending affects economic output, growth, and business activity. So are they raising taxes? Are they lowering taxes? Are they increasing government spending? Are they decreasing government spending? So let's talk about two different types of fiscal policy. The first one is going to be expansionary. And that's exactly what it sounds like. It is expanding the economy. So if the economy is really sluggish or we're in a recession, then they need to help kickstart the economy. So when the economy is suffering a recession, and remember that is 6 months of negative GDP growth, GDP is low and unemployment is high. The entire point of fiscal policy is to shift aggregate demand. So maybe we should write ourselves a little note here. The goal of fiscal policy is to shift aggregate demand. Okay, and for instance, if we're talking about expansionary fiscal policy, we want to be shifting aggregate, and remember, aggregate means all, okay? We want to be shifting aggregate demand to the right because you have an increase in demand that is going to help the economy grow. So things that are going to help aggregate demand shift to the right, remember, this is just a regular old shift to the right. Demand increases. We just put an A in front of it, and that's how you get aggregate demand. So what can the government do to try and get their country out of a depression or a recession? Make sure you write that down, please. First of all, it can increase its spending. And increasing its spending could be on programs, government programs, like Head Start, or like building, roads or infrastructures or things like that. It can also be stimulus checks. And when the government gives us stimulus checks, they hope that we go out and spend it because that is going to help the economy. But if we go out and we put it in our checking account or our savings account, that is not going to help the economy. All right, so beyond increasing its spending, they could lower taxes because if you remember, if you have lower taxes, you have more money in your pocket. If you have more money in your pocket as a consumer, because we're Americans, we are going to spend it. All right, so that was expansionary fiscal policy. Let's talk about contractionary fiscal policy. Okay, so expansionary fiscal policy was if the economy is in a recession, but contractionary fiscal policy is if we're operating beyond full employment. Inflation is becoming a problem and the economy is just growing way too fast. And again, it's a shift in aggregate demand, but this is a shift to the left because this is a decrease in demand. All right, So what can the government do to try and lessen inflation in their country? We can have lower government spending. And we can also raise taxes, because obviously if we have less money in our pocket, we are going to spend less money. So the goal is to lower prices with a little decrease in real GDP. All right, so suppose the economy is in a recession. What are 3 fiscal policy actions that could help alleviate the recession, and explain why that is the case? So you're going to put 1, 2, and 3 right here. I'm going to help you out by giving you one of them. And then you're going to explain to me, however, why that makes a difference. And you're writing these in your notes, but you're also going to type them into the end of the ed puzzle. All right, so if it's in a recession, it can lower taxes. Okay, but you need to give me the explanation as to why that would help alleviate the recession. Because if you don't do this part, you haven't explained why that is. All right, and then on the next page, so suppose the economy is growing too fast. What are 3 fiscal policy actions that could help slow the economy? So the first one, I'm going to help you out, is they could raise taxes. All right, but you need to explain to me why that is in relation to helping slow the economy down. Because again, if you don't do that, then you haven't answered the question. So go ahead and write those down. And make sure you've paused the video, because you're going to have to type them in at the end so that I can check them before we get to class tomorrow. All right, if you have any questions, make sure you either email me at armor@me.steer.org or you have Schoology message me.